Well, where are we? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Prime time. Obviously, that is not us. That is not our shot. That is not me. We are live. We are trying to figure this out after coming out of Wrestlemania just a moment ago. Let's do this. Yep, there we go. No, not quite. All right. Well, you can hear us, but you can't see us. We are live, folks. We're having our own version of the Boneyard match, I guess you could call it. It is, it is reaction, David Hero. And we are joined with, let's go with who we can see, Linda K. Linda, how are you?
Doing tremendous.
Yes, you are, as always. So I understand, Linda, that we've got some, no. I understand we've got some tweets that we are going to be reading. What's the hashtag we're using tonight?
We are using hashtag PWRLive, as we all do, to get your comments so we can discuss it here on the Fans Show Reaction.
Yes, indeed, it is reaction. We are live. We are going to try to fix our video difficulties here. Thank you to all of you for joining us, who are joining us on social media channels right now, including YouTube, including Facebook, including Twitter, and also on Twitch. And we are also live on Fight TV. And we have lost a camera tonight, so you get to look at the lovely Linda K while we all talk. And Linda is going to be the star. Damian Nelson and David Hero here in the PWR studios. And what a night it was at WrestleMania. Linda, let's break it down first. Obviously, we've got a brand new WWE Universal Champion in Braun Strowman. Shocking turn of events coming out of WrestleMania. And a really, really good end to the show as well. Talk us through, Linda, first your thoughts on Braun Strowman being the new Universal Champion, defeating Goldberg tonight at WrestleMania.
Well, I wasn't expecting the match to go very long, but I didn't think it would be quite that quick. Would it be considered a squash match? Sure. After 4 spears, you got to believe that Goldberg would have retained, but then things turned around really quickly. And after 4 power slams, well, the final running power slam, that done did it. After that, I saw Goldberg just flat, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think the titles are going to change hand. And you know what? It did. Really surprised myself, and I think it surprised a lot of the fans, including us. I think none of us were really expecting Goldberg to lose the title tonight, just kind of losing that credibility he had over that victory.
Wait a minute. I expected Goldberg to lose the title tonight. I said Goldberg would lose, and that would be the best way to make news coming out of WrestleMania. Braun Strowman gets his moment that all the fans seem to have forgotten that they wanted a year ago.
Was that even really news? Let's be honest. That's not news.
It's hot news.
Bill Goldberg got beat in 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
That is news. It took 4 spears against Braun Strowman, who kicked out.
Let's rewind. When the match started, you, Cal, and I were watching WrestleMania, and I says, hey, the over-under in this match is 7 minutes.
Yes.
Cal said 8 minutes and 13 seconds. I said 7 minutes, and you said $1. Right?
Cal's right there. Why don't we ask him? Look, Cal's here on reaction. We can't show us, so we'll show him. You got your own little phone over there and everything.
I'm trying to get this camera fixed.
Well, thank you. We need your help with that, Cal. But Dave, go ahead. You said everything but Braun Strowman winning this matchup earlier on PrimeTime.
We were sitting there and legit laughing. 4 spears. I'm like, oh, they just buried Braun Strowman. This is bad business all over. And then all of a sudden he kicked out and he fights back. All we saw was spears and power slams.
Yeah.
That's it. Like 9 moves total in 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And Braun Strowman defeated the icon, the Hall of Famer, Bill Goldberg, in under 3 minutes.
Yes, but
Bill Goldberg has no reason to ever come back. He doesn't.
Because he made your prediction wrong?
No, because he can't win a big match.
He won beat Brock Lesnar with 2 spears at Survivor Series a couple of years ago. That was a big match.
A big match is WrestleMania. He lost to Brock Lesnar.
Even this one?
On his first title defense.
Let's table that.
And then on his first title defense on this last run, He lost again.
Let's table that. Linda, I believe right now on our social media, specifically on Twitter, we are asking the fans for their opinion of the match that ended WrestleMania. It was the Boneyard match, which delivered the cinematic experience that we predicted and talked about on PrimeTime earlier this week. But I understand we want to hear what the fans have to say too.
Yeah, well, as far as our poll, we are currently at, ironically, 100 votes. You still have 19 minutes left to put your vote in regards to the Boneyard match, if it's a pass or a fail. But we are currently primarily a pass. We've got 88%, so 88 votes saying it's a pass, with only 12 votes saying it's a fail. But again, we got roughly 20 minutes left. We want to hear your thoughts on that Boneyard match, and vote on that poll. Let us know what you think.
All right, Linda, additionally, that match, The Undertaker versus AJ Styles, we didn't know what we were going to get. We hoped we would get something special and unique, and no doubt we got something special and unique for sure.
But what did we get? I don't know if we got a wrestling match or if we got a movie.
We got both, and I thought it was fantastic.
Matt Hardy has got to be sitting at the compound, smiling with Vanguard 1, saying, "We did that."
Well, Linda, let's get your thoughts first, as we'll share some of the comments from all of the active commenters watching us on social media right now, specifically about the Boneyard match between The Undertaker and AJ Styles. What was it in your mind? Did it deliver in your mind? And the end result, was it what you expected?
Well, absolutely. It was quite the production, and it combined two of my favorite things, wrestling and horror movies. It was almost kind of omenistic. Is that a word? I don't know. But between the music, the different shots, and bringing in the OC, and then the demons that were against The Undertaker, I'm not sure. I thought they would have been more in his favor. But again, just different shots, different scenes, him rising up from the grave. I thought that was pretty entertaining. I did truly enjoy it. It kind of made me think about, remember on Monday Night Raw a couple years ago when the New Day had their match against Bray Wyatt? Yeah, so it was kind of shot similarly, but this definitely had more theatrics with the music and the drama and the way it ended. I think it was a great way to end night one of WrestleMania.
Well, thank you, Linda. David, what did you think? The Boneyard match. You got a chance to watch it in entirety while I was breaking our cameras.
Well, here's what you got to look at. If they were in the stadium tomorrow night, this match never would have happened. There's no way they could have done all that because the fans would not have sat for about 30 minutes. Whoa, hey, look at that. How about that?
There's a little bit of you.
The fans never would have sat through watching a screen for 30 minutes. It was really well produced, but let's not forget, WWE does have their very own movie division.
They do.
So that's what they went with. It worked. It came together. It was weird. It's like it wasn't a match. We watched a movie, but it was creative.
You seem to be torn as to whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. I think it was a tremendous thing.
Here's what it is. The Undertaker now blows The Fiend out of the water.
How so?
Because The Undertaker does everything The Fiend can do, but now does it better.
What did he do that The Fiend could do, but now does it better? He was a biker. He was the American badass.
He resurrected himself out of a grave. Like that.
Did the Fiend ever attempt to do that?
I don't think he could.
Well, maybe we'll find out tomorrow night in the next cinematic effort from WWE for that Firefly Funhouse match.
That word is being overused, just so you know.
Well, it was very cinematic.
It was very cinematic. But yeah,
you hated it.
No, I didn't.
You loved it, but the purist in you hated it because AJ's a smaller guy.
Oh God, no. But what happened? AJ lost. It didn't make a difference.
As you saw, we've shared some of your comments. We apologize for the unique camera shot, but I actually sort of like it. It's a lot more of me and a lot less of him. So we
social distancing.
We've been sharing some of your comments. They're coming in a frenzious way.
Yeah, people are heated right now.
I can't even find my words, but thank you for joining us. We're live on Fight TV. Fight, which showed WrestleMania. I enjoyed the WrestleMania experience on Fight. Medusa in the chat room, Alundra Blaze of WWE in the chat room, Hall of Famer, and you guys have had your comments that we've shared as well. WWE delivered tonight, I think, overall for WrestleMania. They delivered overall for WrestleMania. There were some slow, awkward points that wasn't anyone's fault, but ultimately, beginning of show to end of show, two championships changed hands.
And we got to see a Grammy Award-winning movie or an Oscar.
Hey,
Oscar
perhaps.
performance.
Wouldn't that
Yeah.
be the win of the year?
Yeah. You know what? It was a good show. It was better than anything we've seen on Raw, better than anything we've seen on SmackDown and NXT. They did a really good job. And the talent busted their ass tonight.
Yes, they did.
They did everything that they would have done at WrestleMania as far as move sets, big bumps,
Nothing was different.
physicality. The only thing that wasn't there, and that's the one thing that everybody misses, is the people. Because some of those moves, some of those bumps they took, if there was a live audience, they would have gone, as Pat Patterson would have said, banana.
Well, let's go through the card as it happened tonight. We still want to hear your comments on that Boneyard match. We still want you to go over to Twitter if you aren't already, at PWR360. Give your response, pass or fail, to the match in our poll. And no, it's not easy to select an option right now because many of us are torn. I joked with you, David, a moment ago, but many of us are torn because it was a movie. It was a cinematic presentation.
They had background music.
But why not? If you can do that, why not?
Agreed. And you know what? Maybe that was the unique thing they were talking about with Roman Reigns. Maybe they got it mixed up with the matches.
The rest of WrestleMania, ladies and gentlemen, from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, from WWE. A new Universal Champion, Braun Strowman, pinning Goldberg. We started the show with that. More to talk about in that regard. We'll get to that in just a moment. As a matter of fact, no, let's talk about it now. We'll do it live. We'll do it right now. I feel strongly that it was the right thing to do because maybe, just maybe, and I have to follow the conspiracy theorists out there because they exist, this was a message to Roman Reigns, perhaps. Hey, you could have been champion if you'd have showed up.
Well, he would have been champion if he would have showed up. But you
So
know
then
what?
they
You
put it
can
on
tell
Strowman.
Goldberg, his body language and his attitude coming down to the ring seemed completely unenthused.
You didn't say that when we were watching the show live. You're backtracking.
No, I'm not.
You're flipping and flopping.
What did I say about Goldberg?
You,
I'm just
you
saying,
didn't say anything about Goldberg. All of a sudden, you're saying a lot of things
well,
about
but
Goldberg.
if you watch it back, and we will watch it back after
Yeah,
this,
you're gonna
his
have to.
body language was unenthusiastic.
He's Goldberg. When's he ever been enthusiastic?
He's
never
always
exuded
enthusiastic. He wants
He
to
did
be the
the-
superhero.
and all the stuff.
I'm just I don't. It was just a weird match. I thought Goldberg was going to win in the beginning. When he hit him with those spears, I'm like, and I started to laugh. And then the tide turned. And then he hits him with the power slams and the power slam, and then he kicks up. That last power slam, I think he broke Goldberg's hip.
Cal, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll put you on the spot. Thank you for fixing at least a camera to use. But what do you remember when we were watching that matchup? You can be honest. I'm here to protect you. What do you remember as far as your take of Goldberg upon entering? Did you feel anything different at that time?
I originally thought Goldberg was gonna win because he hits him with the 4 spears. It's like, okay, he beat Brock with 2, so how is Braun Strowman gonna kick out? And wow, my mind changed really quick.
Yeah.
After Braun Strowman power slammed him multiple times.
Well, it's WrestleMania Sunday. It's the debut of Cal Hero here on Reaction, and
His little office is cute, isn't it?
well, he's the production guy, so he's in the production area. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be pretty. We had to go to camera 28 for
Yeah,
that.
no kidding. Jesus.
We've successfully destroyed 1 through 27.
Isn't
But
it cool he
look,
has the same phone that I do?
but-
So now people know when I pick up the phone, that's who I'm talking
But
to.
the best shot of the night is the one of the lovely Linda Kay. Linda, thank you for joining us. What are we hearing? Anything yet from Twitter in relation to WrestleMania?
Well, first, I just kind of want to bring up the poll between who we thought would win the Strowman
Gonna bring up the poll.
Goldberg
Okay.
match.
What?
And we had 46 votes in that, where it was 65% of our viewers saying Strowman was going to win regardless at the beginning of the match. So we kind of felt, or kind of got a feel of who our viewers were expecting and hoping to win, and we got it. So kudos to Braun Strowman for being the new Universal Champion. And with that, I'm curious how that changes the landscape, because if Roman Reigns was supposed to win, it would have set up a new rivalry with who knows. But now with Strowman with the strap, we'll see how that goes. In regards to some of our comments from PW #PWR Live on our thoughts of WrestleMania, we've got Mannington Bear, who commented, "The matches are all good, but with no fans, it's wasted. But fair play to all the wrestlers. We've got Suplex City saying the ladder match is very impressive. With the crowd, though, it would possibly be a WrestleMania instant classic, which we kind of touched on a little bit ago. We also have Wise Princess Brightheart, who says, I've enjoyed the matches so far, but it does definitely lack the pomp and circumstance of a typical WrestleMania.
All right. Well, thank you for those comments, and thank you for everyone for socially engaging as well. There was a lot more at WrestleMania.
The rooms are full tonight.
There was a lot more at WrestleMania, but there was a lot less of Gronk than I thought we would see. And I'm happy with that.
God Almighty, because we had talked about Gronk winning the 24/7 title, and they teased
It almost happened.
Thank God it didn't happen. But my only concern is, as amazing as R-Truth is, he is the worst defending champion of all time. Because
he's on I-95 South.
A stiff shot to his chest actually beat him, whereas a guy like Braun Strowman can kick out of 4 spears.
4 spears. I think, was it 5? 4?
It doesn't. After 3, it doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, let's hope that a guy like Braun Strowman or Goldberg never get the 24/7 title, because they'll never lose it.
We talked about another championship changing hands tonight. In fact, there were a total of 3, because Mojo Rawley did become the new 24/7 champion.
Yes.
Gronk tried to grab it, Mojo pushing him out of the way and taking the spot, if you will. Any more breath need to be spent on that?
No.
Thank you. The Raw Women's Championships were defended tonight. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross get the win over the Kabuki Warriors. This was the opener, and I thought it was pretty dang on good, David.
You know what? It was, like they said, it was Nikki Cross's best match she's had yet. It was very well done. She showed aggression. They showed sense of urgency. Once again, an interesting choice to have the girls start.
Yeah.
They did that on the first SmackDown without fans. Now they do it again. And, the Kabuki Warriors are really, really good.
Yes, and really, really entertaining.
They're very entertaining. And it was a good dynamic with those 4.
Linda, your thoughts on the matchup for the Raw Women's, or the, can go anywhere Women's Championship. Kabuki Warriors losing to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, who walk out the new champs.
It was an entertaining match to kick off WrestleMania. I was surprised Kabuki Warriors lost. I really thought they would come through with a win tonight and retaining their titles. But, there were a lot of comments out there about, their screaming and the audio, whether they liked it or it was annoying. I think it actually gave some character to the match. I was thinking in the other, some of the other matches where there was just dead silence, just kind of bringing even more awkwardness to the current awkwardness, with no audience. And I think it kind of kept the match going. It made me chuckle a little bit, but overall, I think it was a strong match, and we'll see what happens next with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross as champions. Let's see if they, do get that rematch, and see if this little rivalry carries on.
Before we move on to the next match, and thank you, Linda, we want to thank the comment from, address the comment here from Shafiq Ali, who we talked about earlier on PrimeTime during one of our special broadcasts. At least the running time for the night 1 of WrestleMania was perfect. It went off the air at 9 o'clock.
And you were so worried about that. You were terrified
I was
about
concerned
it.
because there were 18 matches. Thought it was going to be 9 and 9. We got 8 tonight.
And by the time the first hour was
How long have the last
4?
How long have the last WrestleMania has been?
But again,
with 8 to 10 to 12 matches.
Listen, and like I said, previous WrestleManias, they start off with a big open.
You didn't say that on air.
Well, no, I didn't. But I'm telling you now, and I said it during the show earlier. Usually it's a 15, 20-minute open. Okay, it's even longer.
We had that unique opening video.
And the national anthem was cool tonight. How
they
blended everything in. It just showed how amazing this show has been over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you didn't have the big 30-minute open with the national anthem, so that shaves off 30 minutes right there. You didn't have the big elaborate entrances.
You did not.
That shaves off another probably 30, 45 minutes total. So now that's an hour right there.
you're being very liberal with those numbers, but yes, that is time taken away. But another point you did make on
Okay.
air earlier was they controlled the time
we
before
watched
the show aired tonight.
Last night when we watched Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels,
Yes.
how long was the entrance for those two guys?
They were epic. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying it's not an hour of total time
said
over the course of the
45
show.
minutes.
You said 30, and then you said 30 for the national anthems. Probably
no,
15,
no,
15-ish.
No. I said 30 for the national anthem, and then remember when they had Rock, Austin, and Hogan come out to start off that
That
one
was a
year?
promo.
Yeah, the opening promo was at least 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank
There's
you
your
for
30.
clarifying promo.
It's the same thing.
It's not. It's all different. They have different
If you
titles.
know, you know.
Thank God that the timing was controlled and well done, and the pacing of the show was actually very well done as well. Like the matches all had as much time as they needed. Some would say the ladder match could have gotten a bit more time, but I'm not sure about that. Here was one thing that was interesting, though. Elias did make it to the match tonight after being thrown off the balcony onto a concrete floor and only needing some shoulder tape as a result of that.
Well,
Fall.
he knows how to fall.
I didn't think they knew how to fall.
You know what was terrifying for me was during that ladder match was that fan.
Ladder match or the Elias Corbin
The ladder match.
Okay.
I know that you jumped ahead, but I'm going to rewind it a minute.
No,
That
it's later
big
in the
fan was above the ladder. They could have cut their heads off.
It was moving very slow.
It would still hurt. Would you want to take that bump?
We'll talk more about the ladder match later, but Elias defeating Baron Corbin, but he did so with a handful of tights, and Corbin was very aggressive in this matchup. Elias also very aggressive. These two did a great job, I thought.
They did. Well, you have Elias, who is the big bully heel. Corbin is the big bully heel, and you have Elias, who's the big jacked up babyface. So of course he's going to fight back. I thought the finish was creative because if you notice the placement of Baron Corbin's arms, there's no way he could have kicked out. All of his body weight was on his shoulders, along with a handful of tights by Elias, which made sure that there was no way he was going to kick out.
Linda, it was Elias versus Baron Corbin. What did you think of that outing tonight at WrestleMania?
I enjoyed it. They have quite an interesting chemistry with. I liked how Corbin, he did have his feet on the ropes, right before getting pinned with Elias grabbing the tights. But it was, we expected Elias to still be there despite falling several feet the other night on SmackDown. But it was a toss up to me on who would win. I think that this could hopefully end this feud. I think it's gone long enough. There's been enough guitar shots and enough pushes off. What do they call the gimmick he was on? But I think that
The balcony. And the match did start with a guitar shot tonight from Elias to Baron Corbin. Good point, Linda.
Yeah. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting, too much high flying. We were expecting some punches, and I was expecting a good guitar hit to take place, which started before the match. But overall, I thought it was an okay match, but I wasn't expecting too much out of that match anyways.
Well, the next match was for the Women's Championship, right? It was Becky Lynch against Shayna Baszler.
Epic failure of a match.
Really?
Epic failure.
Please tell.
Because the way the match was going, it was Clubber Lang against Rocky from Rocky 3. Shayna Baszler was dominating. She was the bully. She was beating her up. You were hoping Becky could make the big comeback. Perfect moment right now for Shayna Baszler to be the bully after she dominated the Elimination Chamber. She should have dominated Becky Lynch, a wounded Becky Lynch, beat her for the title, and then have Becky reset and show that she's going to fight and try to come back and win her title. But now what they basically did is they bastardized the entire Elimination Chamber by beating all those girls so easily. For Becky to beat her with a roll-up, I personally thought that was bad business.
Some fans, and we put the comments on the screen, mentioned Becky Lynch's entrance with her own little semi-truck, which was,
Well, they paid for it for WrestleMania. Might as well use it.
Well, they already used it on Raw or SmackDown a couple weeks ago, so they could use it again in the future when it wouldn't have been as awkward. It just came off as, because she drove up, then Baszler entered, then Becky entered. It just was disconnected, in my opinion. It didn't add anything to the show.
Well, I think all the budget went to the Undertaker match.
Maybe it did, but this match, I was entertained. I just wonder what's next for Baszler. Where do we go out of this? Do we go with Baszler and a Ronda Rousey when she returns?
No,
Does Becky Lynch go with her when she
Shayna
returns?
Baszler is back at ground zero.
Really? Square one.
She lost clean. She lost clean in the middle of the ring.
But did she beat herself? She had Becky in
doesn't
that
matter.
submission move. Becky reversed it to a degree and got the pinfall,
Here's
which she had
why
tried before.
There's no reason for a rematch. If Shayna Baszler is that much of a badass where she bit a chunk out of the back of Becky's neck, when she lost, she sat in the corner and pouted as she watched Becky Lynch get up on the second rope, who got completely destroyed throughout the match, to celebrate. She should have jumped on her immediately and put the boots to her.
Maybe
all of
she
her
was
heat back.
truly disappointed in herself. Maybe that's what they were selling.
Lost opportunity with Shayna Baszler.
So she's finished.
She's
now.
no longer vicious.
So Goldberg was killed on this show. Baszler was killed on this show.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, they will have I'm sure they'll do something on Raw to get Shayna Baszler's heat back, but they should have got it back tonight.
Linda, the women's championship matchup. Becky Lynch gets the win over Shayna Baszler. What say you?
Well, I was really shocked as well, seeing Shayna just like on the ground in the corner, just looking at Becky after, being shocked herself, losing that match. But I was hoping we would see that fight, that might in her, and her attacking Becky after losing the title so easily. I do hope on Raw that we do get a good promo from Shayna Baszler once again, calling out Becky and getting, another chance at it. But I didn't like how that ended. I think the match was pretty short, and it ended showing a completely other side of Shayna Baszler, one that we have not seen ever, really, and especially coming off, the heels of dominating the Elimination Chamber. It just wasn't a good call in the end.
Fans, we are live all over the world. We are on Fight TV. We are on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. Damian Nelson alongside David Hero. We're coming off the heels of the first night of a two-night WrestleMania for the first time in history. And it was, overall, I think, a very satisfying night. Not just because it was a time-sensitive, and they were sensitive to our time, rather, with the show, but the contents of it were tremendous. And one thing that definitely got me on the approving side of this show was that the endorsed Sami Zayn retained his Intercontinental Championship, defeating Daniel Bryan. Now, of course, he used his resources to do so, but Sami Zayn, who was a tremendous heel performer in this matchup, begging and pleading for mercy, ultimately got the win.
Sami Zayn is a tremendous cowardly heel. On paper, credential-wise, he's not in Daniel Bryan's league.
They're about the same weight.
But I'm saying on paper, credential-wise. I'm
not at all.
About size.
Not at all.
Daniel Bryan is, a 7-star guy, and Sami Zayn on paper is like a 4.5.
What are you talking about all these stars for all of a
Because
sudden?
that's what prognosticators do on this stuff. They talk about stars.
I thought it was a 5-star maximum unless it's in the Tokyo Dome.
First of all, I can go as many stars as I want. I
Is that
can.
the same thing?
But it wasn't a match that I had to see. I mean,
What do you hate?
No, I just.
Let's go on record for the viewers who haven't been with us during our hiatus.
No, I like Sami Zayn. I think
Right, that's what I was going to ask about Daniel Bryan.
Oh, no, I don't mind Daniel Bryan, but look at
Daniel Bryan was nothing more than what you said in the past. He was nothing more than the yes chant.
Yes, and I'm not wrong about that, am I?
I don't think that's a fair assessment. He's a lot more than just the yes chant.
He's very talented. He is. But from the guy that closed WrestleMania 30 to now can't beat Sami Zayn, I understand that talents go up and down with matches and your.
He had help from Cesaro. He had help from Shinsuke. Did Sami Zayn? Daniel Bryan didn't lose alone.
Yeah, Drew Gulak.
1 versus 3.
I don't know. Daniel Bryan just looks like a completely different performer now. Clean shaven, beard all trimmed up. He doesn't look like a warrior anymore.
Linda Kay, what say you about this matchup? Sami Zayn retains and walks out, still the Intercontinental Champion.
Well, he is the dastardly heel, so he won dirty. I went into the match thinking who would retain. It was, 3 against 2. So in the end, with the help of his henchmen, he did retain, and it was an entertaining match, but another one that, to be honest with you, I was making dinner during that match, and I don't think I missed much.
Oh, what'd you cook?
What'd you make, Linda?
What did I
Pizza rolls?
make?
Yeah.
Oh, I have an indoor grill. I have some tilapia that I just grilled it up for myself. I had some hearts of palm.
You know what? Take her off.
Oh yeah.
She's done. Really? Of every fish you can pick, you got to pick tilapia. The garbage fish of the world.
Inside story.
Tilapia is the anti-fish.
It is. It's not even real fish.
I love tilapia, Linda. So see, that's why we connect. Because some people don't like fishy fish.
It's not a fish.
Tilapia is a
No,
fish.
it's not.
What is it?
It's made in test tubes. Exactly. Exactly.
It's a fish.
Made in
David.
test tubes. It's a test tube fish. Don't eat it. It's terrible for you. Eat cod.
How do you make a fish in a test tube?
Well, you take. Do we have time for that right now?
I'm so intrigued that we'll have time for that at some point this week, I'm sure. But Sami Zayn wins Intercontinental Championship. In all seriousness, David, right call. It seems like you agree.
Yeah. Go with Sami Zayn. He's the most entertaining guy on the shows. He's obnoxious, but he's great at it.
And that's what he should be,
You
though,
want
right?
to see him get his ass beat eventually.
Yes, and that's
exactly it.
indeed WrestleMania 36 Part 1 is what we are talking about tonight. We are live. Thank you for joining us here on Fight TV. Thank you for joining us across our social channels
He reminds me
as well.
of Skeletor.
Really?
Because he's got that annoying laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could call, Cesaro and Shinsuke can be Beastman and Merman.
So let me ask you a question since you bring this up. And we talked about the battle between Snickers and Butterfinger on a recent episode of the show.
Yeah.
Skeletor or Cobra Commander?
Oh, Skeletor.
Over Cobra Commander?
Absolutely.
Shield Cobra Commander or
Dude,
Hood Cobra Commander?
Skeletor is jacked to the gills. He's at least 6'3". What is Cobra Commander?
All right, what about Serpentor
Maybe.
versus Skeletor?
No, Skeletor's got that mystical stuff going on.
But tilapia is made in a test
It's
tube.
disgusting. It's bad fish.
Next matchup was the ladder match, folks. It was to be a three-team tag team ladder match. It turned into a three-man ladder match, still for the tag team championships. The Miz was out, so that left us with Jimmy Uso, John Morrison, and Kofi Kingston representing their respective teams. This ladder match was tremendous. It's difficult in ladder matches to see anything new. And I'm not even saying we saw anything new tonight, but we saw a new presentation. It was a very intriguing finish.
Yes.
And I'll let you explain how that went down, but we did see the champions retain tonight on behalf of the efforts of John Morrison, but Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston also deserve a tremendous amount of credit in this matchup.
All three guys incredibly athletic. They put their bodies on the line. It's everything you would hope a ladder match would be. Crazy spots, hard spots.
Not too crazy this time.
Well,
There were no cringeworthy spots, right?
there's not enough room for all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got that big fan above you. You know what I mean? The finish I thought was really well done. You had all three guys fighting for the belt, and we're sitting there and we're watching. I made the comment. I go, John Morrison has the leverage. His body weight can pull it down. The other two guys are trying to pull up, and that's exactly what happened. The big headbutt from Kofi and Uso.
Oh.
And then the next thing you know, what?
Coco?
It used to be called the Cocoa Butt. That's what I was thinking, was the Cocoa Butt.
Good recovery.
And then, of course, he
Kofi's
takes
not
the
in the
big...
Hall of Fame yet.
He will be.
He
That's
definitely
not a
will
matter
be.
of time.
You know, one thing we talked about during that matchup was I'm not sure there are many who have had a sustained longer run on the road and performing without injuries. And I know he's had a couple of them. But Kofi's been a trooper for over a decade in WWE.
And he's only gotten better since he lost his Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
When he lost that, to the moon.
Yes, he did. Because it wasn't a gimmick, if you will, anymore. And I would say to the moon, but he took some detours before he got to the moon because he was
But that's when he was with New
floundering
Day.
for a while.
And New Day was off to a rough
He
start.
lost Jamaican a
And-
long time before New Day.
Not really. I don't
A
think so.
long time, bro.
Details. We're talking about New Day. But I thought it was a great match. I thought all three guys did everything they could do. It creates dissension again between New Day and the Usos.
Yeah.
And John Morrison, he stole one.
So it's almost like, and the dissension you mentioned, it's almost like both the Usos and the New Day were like, whoops, we beat ourselves, because it was their double headbutt that sent Morrison down with the title belts in hand. Very well done, and again, a creative finish.
And a hell of a bump he took on that ladder.
Hell of a bump that, was it Jimmy Uso that took from the top of the ladder outside the ring as well?
Yeah.
Some well done stuff and well done spots in this matchup. And there's also something we should note: the commentary teams tonight. We got a little more than I think we would have expected. JBL joining Michael Cole, representing the SmackDown matches, and Byron Saxton joining Tom Phillips, representing the Raw matches.
You know, it's amazing how many people get you and Saxton mixed up together.
Linda, your thoughts on the ladder match for the for the tag team championships on the SmackDown side of things?
I truly enjoyed it. We saw a lot of athleticism. My favorite moment of the match, though, was when Morrison had his tightrope walk where he grabbed Kofi, the Spanish fly off the top rope, and then we had a big Uso splash. So that incorporated all of their athletic ability and just a nice finish to that whole sequence. Sorry, can't talk here. But I did enjoy the finish. It was something that we haven't seen before with championship ladder tag team match, and Michael Cole said that was an incredible match, or ladder match, always stealing the show, which it definitely did in tonight's part 1 of WrestleMania, and it was quite honestly my favorite match of the show. I always enjoy a ladder match, and I wasn't sure who would come out as champs, and it did take John Morrison. Even though he took the big bump, he came off on top, and him and Miz still the current tag team champions.
Well, our poll has just ended on Twitter at PWR360. The question: pass, fail on the Boneyard match between The Undertaker and AJ Styles. Linda, I understand you're going to handle the results of that after we talk about the next matchup, which is a Raw brand match, and it was a match that ended twice. I guess it was so nice, David Hero. It was Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins losing the match to Kevin Owens by disqualification. But Kevin Owens wasn't done at that point. And that match, it was really short.
Yes.
The first half, if you will, of the match was really, really short. And Rollins getting disqualified, being a bit more aggressive than he needed to be with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens says, not that way, not tonight. Bring it on. And in fact, we're going to bring it on. No rules, no disqualification. Let's do this. And he did.
I think that could have been the match that changed the tempo for the rest of the night. Because if it would have ended on the DQ, it's a big groan, because that's what we did. That's what we did when we were like, oof, really?
It was quick.
It was bad. But then Kevin Owens, punked out Rollins on his man card, on his Messiah card. And then they got physical, and then they were fighting, and they were legit laying it in there on each other. And at the end of the night, Kevin Owens, I think that was a big upset victory for him.
Yeah, well, twice.
Because you got to figure, you have to look at how they're going to, if Drew McIntyre does win tomorrow night, which he is the favorite to do, you have to have heels ready for Drew McIntyre. And right now, none of the heels on Raw are winning in WrestleMania.
None of the heels on Raw are winning at WrestleMania. It's a great point.
So that may be our answer right there. Like I mentioned, maybe you have a no finish between the two of them, between Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre, and then push that match back to SummerSlam.
Let's talk about what's most challenging potentially for this WrestleMania. Yes, it was taped in advance, but yes, they took advantage of great opportunities with that opportunity to tape it in advance, but the future is still unknown. So they booked a show not knowing exactly how they were going to be able to come out of that show, and that's a substantial challenge.
It is. It's you have no idea what the future holds for anything, and you have a lot of money invested in TV time, and it's going to be very interesting. But kudos to WWE for putting together night 1 of WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
I'm expecting night 2 to be even better because you have a lot more studs on night 2. But I get a kick out of people that were watching the show and that were complaining about the show, that it was boring or uneventful. Well, why are you still watching it? Why are you watching it for 3 hours? And that's the big argument always. Or the people that say, oh, they should have postponed it, but you still watched it. You know what I mean?
Well, but when did those comments come? Because sometimes for the
Tonight,
haters,
during
you
the
have
show,
to,
if you looked on social media, yes.
That's what I mean, during the show. But beginning of the show, middle of the show, end of the show, I think I saw a lot more of those comments at the beginning during some of the more awkward moments of the show, which should have been just absolutely forgiven. You're right. Than I saw at the end, because we saw some surprising things. The Braun Strowman win, the quality of the presentation of the Boneyard match, the ladder match, all of that happened later in the show.
Those talents tonight, the men, the women, the referees,
Yeah.
pay attention to how hard they work during a match.
And how we didn't hear a single spot, I think, except for when they told Becky to get out of the truck. But regardless of that, that's a tremendous win.
The referees, they were fantastic because they were still doing their job. We never hear the referees talk to the talent during the match because the crowd is so loud.
Yeah.
But now you can see what they do. Everyone worked hard, and there should be no criticism at all for the matches because they did the best they could with what limited they had to work with.
What's Al Snow said to us at least twice on the show in the last couple of weeks? Lemons into lemonade. Here's what a lot of people may not understand. And I do think most of you actually appreciate the situation, and at the end of this now, appreciate what WWE did for us as fans tonight. Everything changed. How the matches were to go, how you call the matches, how you plan the matches, how the referees interact in the matches, the cues that they have for time, all of those things changed, and they changed on a dime. So they had to almost recreate how they produce wrestling television in a very short period of time, and the result was what we saw tonight. And if that's the case, to have delivered that Undertaker AJ Styles matchup in such high quality, whether they've got the resources to do it or not, you got to write, you got to cite, you got to produce, you got to get the propane tanks up on top of that roof. There's so much they had to do, and that was probably a multi-night shoot in a remote location, because you only got enough, usually as you're burning daylight, well, you're burning nighttime in that situation. From a production standpoint alone, a planning and creative standpoint alone, WWE has hopefully proven to themselves, as they have proven to me, that they are indeed the gold standard in live television production.
They definitely raised the bar. You can all criticize how bad Raw and SmackDown and NXT have looked the last couple of weeks. Those were live shows. They had the talent and the resources and the production crew to make WrestleMania. It didn't look like WrestleMania, but it was as close as we were ever going to get for have it this weekend.
I'll be honest, when the show started, I said, you know what, this is depressing. This is truly depressing. Not just because of what WrestleMania looked like and what it typically looks like and not being there. All of those are selfish reasons for me. But why it was depressing was it put into perspective the turmoil that our world is in right now, because what has been a mainstay for 35 years of our lives? WrestleMania, as Stephanie said to open the show. Generally, at this time of year, we're celebrating WrestleMania. This year, it's a bit unique. And it really did hit home that the world has changed. And we're not preaching, it's the reality. And for me, that reality became more stark during what wasn't WrestleMania tonight in its traditional form, but what was indeed the best WrestleMania we could have gotten tonight.
Absolutely. They did a great job. I was proud of the guys and the girls and the production crew for what they did, because it's terrifying right now. And they went out there and they risked a ton. And I thought they did a hell of a job tonight.
They did.
But
and
you know what?
WWE.
Speaking of wrestling, I did get a notice from Uncle Al Snow while you're transitioning here, and it's actually pretty amazing. Right now, Al Snow is working on a project. It's for the PPE challenge. It's, if you go on Facebook, it's on
Personal protective equipment.
It's the number 4, the PPE challenge. And right now, Al Snow and Company, their goal is to raise $4,000 by April 24th, so they can purchase the PPE products that our healthcare needs. If we don't get the $4,000, Al said he's going to shave his head.
What? Wait, his head or Head's head?
His head. We don't want to see a bald Al Snow. We really don't. So if you're on Facebook, go to For the PPE Challenge. Let's raise some money. Let's get the PPE for the people that need it. And let's, at all costs, let's avoid Al Snow having his head shaved.
All right, that's and of course for a good cause, and will help everybody. And thank you so much for participating in that. And also, in addition to that, well, you can get some shirts while you're at it.
You absolutely go to thecollarandelbowbrand.com. They got a huge Quarantine Mania sale going on with 20% off. If you use the promo code PWR360 with the other code, you can save a total 30% off your entire order.
Damn! Wow.
Yeah, there's some really cool shirts. There's even a Tiger King shirt, which is your favorite show lately. You can't get enough of that guy. And Carol Baskins.
Tiger King. Baskin.
No, but she's Baskins because she's everywhere right now.
What do you refer to Walmart as? Walmart or Walmart's?
Walmart's.
What about Jules?
Jules.
Folks, WrestleMania 36 Part 1 is in the books. Great night, but let's talk more about the Boneyard match. Some of you, and you saw some of your comments just pop across the screen there, said it was corny. And you know what? You're right. At times, I'm like, ooh, this is too produced. But wait a minute, is it? Is it too produced because it's too produced, or too produced because it's not what we're used to seeing in a wrestling presentation?
Who do you think enjoyed that match the most tonight? There's one guy. He's sitting on the compound in North Carolina. Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy kind of set the standard for these kind of matches.
He did.
Because the Ultimate Deletion, this was like an Ultimate Deletion.
With a tremendously larger budget.
And let's not forget, Jeremy Borash was a huge part of the Ultimate Deletion.
Yep.
And where does he work now? In Orlando at NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So you know he knows where all those skeletons are buried for those kind of matches.
And it came off great. I mean, think about this. So as you were watching it, did it grip you? Did it captivate you? Did it make you want to continue watching? Or for those that say it was corny, and again, I'm not knocking you because I agree with you at times it was, did it make you want to tune away and say, this is too much?
You know what? For the people that didn't like it, they didn't like Lucha Underground. Because Lucha Underground was very similar.
Well, but here I think what is unique about this match, they never told us what a Boneyard match was.
No.
I mean,
it
was speculated about over the course of the evening. So they left us with no definition of what to expect. So what they gave us was what we expected ourselves to expect, not what they told us to expect. Much like telling us to expect Roman Reigns and then just changing the graphic and saying you wouldn't be there.
But now, just imagine what our expectations have been for the Firefly Funhouse match. Now what they're really going to be.
That's tomorrow.
Now what they're really going to be. Because that's going to be very, 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 very similar.
It's a great question. Can you do this twice over 2 nights?
Yes.
Can you really?
Of course you can.
Setting's going to be very different. You can shoot it almost the same, but shoot it relative to what you're shooting, I mean, what the content is.
It's going to be in a funhouse.
But, you know, between now and tomorrow, people are going to be looking forward to what that presentation is going to be. And that's the benefit of all this. And we talked about what Al Snow said earlier on this show, and he has said it many times. You got to take what you got and make the best of what you got. And that's what WWE had to do. Whether you think they should have gone forward with WrestleMania or not, and I understand each of your opinions on that, you can't dismiss the fact that they took advantage of the opportunity to do some very unique things with WrestleMania, if not only during that Boneyard match, but also we got an unexpected new Universal Champion tonight, one that many wrestling fans out there across the world were begging for
in the last couple of years.
In the last couple of years.
Yes.
And seemingly the Roman Reigns replacement was hit with a whimper by most fans without realizing that, wait, this is what we wanted. We now have this chance, and now it has come to fruition. Braun Strowman is the Universal Champion.
You have to wonder now, since Sami Zayn beat Braun Strowman for the IC title, if now Sami doesn't feel he's the #1 contender.
Now, I want to get to another comment from Facebook, and this comes from Shane Feldpausch, who asks a question, or makes a statement. Nice way to end a 30-year legacy of the dead man, though. We didn't touch on the fact that it wasn't the dead man Undertaker tonight. It was the biker American Badass Undertaker, and, let's be honest, which was perfect.
There's no way this is going to be Undertaker's last match.
Was it one of the Undertaker's easiest matches?
Oh, hands down.
Was it one of AJ Styles' easiest matches?
Like Cal said, Taker didn't take a bump.
But even if they did,
you know what was interesting? And you didn't see it because you were breaking cameras in here. is when he broke the window on the limousine and cut his forearm. That's how Bill Goldberg wound up missing like 6 months, 8 months.
That is true, yeah.
So was that like a little rib, to Goldberg because that's exactly what they did?
Oh, you're digging deep.
No, I'm not. It was just in his forearm.
Speaking of which, the grave AJ dug for Undertaker wasn't very deep.
Yeah, it was. Well, but AJ fell in it.
Hey, you know what? Here's another point. We heard a lot of naughty words on WrestleMania tonight. We saw the middle finger from the Undertaker to AJ. We heard the S word. We heard the D word.
If you're in a biker fight, are you going to say good golly?
But there was
gosh.
There was only one biker.
But it was a biker type fight.
In a graveyard.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where they go to
You're
fight.
not
I thought it was outside
excuse me in a graveyard, are you?
I thought it was outside the stop and puke.
Do you know where I really thought it? Well, you know where I thought it was going to be, but I guess where they're actually going to be filming, or they filmed the Funhouse match, was at Joe Exotic's Tiger Zoo.
In his bedroom?
Well, that would be one. I don't know if that's a funhouse or not, but I'm sure there's a bunch of fireflies in that place, among other things.
Linda, we didn't get your thoughts on the Owens matchup. I don't believe the Owens and Rollins match. If we did, please remind me because I'm in a little. My head is spun right now.
No worries. No, I don't think I was going to add about that match was we didn't talk about it. Owens getting on the WrestleMania sign. This is the first time we actually had that capability to have somebody up on the sign, given it being inside the Performance Center. But that definitely added a lot of dynamic to the match. I do believe the restart of the second part of the match definitely changed the whole mood, the whole momentum, the swing of that match, and him going up on top. I'm like, all right, we're gonna get a Shane McMahon type moment here, and we did. And and then Owens winning with the stunner definitely capped it off, and Rollins got what had it coming. So again, I think we had a lot of comments about the big jump off the sign, which I'm glad we got to see because the whole pirate theme, I truly was looking forward to that. It was in Tampa Bay, but you got to use it.
We will never see that again. We will never see somebody jump
maybe
off
tomorrow night.
I doubt it. Why are these the same spot?
Well, they got the same sign.
But they're not going to do that. Maybe. But after this weekend, we will never, ever see anybody jumping off a WrestleMania sign again.
The place was empty, and our dear friend, correspondent Josh Chernoff took advantage of an opportunity to joke and say the crowd was dead, which actually was pretty funny.
At the Boneyard match?
No, at the Performance Center. Did you see when they showed the promo for WrestleMania 21 in Los Angeles? Beautiful as they always do. Mm-hmm. Then they came back immediately, the graphic, live from the Performance Center, Orlando, Florida. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny.
You know
but
what?
It's not funny.
You have to laugh at it.
You have
because
to.
What else can you do?
It's a horrible situation. It's a horrible situation. But it goes to the question you had, David, about next year's WrestleMania. We're going to talk about tomorrow night's WrestleMania in just a moment. But the question that
do they go back to Tampa?
Answered is, do they go back to Tampa? And I think there's one thing in the way of that. The SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles isn't done yet. And will it still be done on time given the current situation, especially in California, is a question. Tampa's going to get a payback. Money in the Bank in May, early May, not happening. SummerSlam, they can't really move full forward ahead with those plans yet. How does Tampa get repaid? How does Tampa get its heat back? Or its, what is it called when you don't get your heat back, but you get the other opposite? Get a receipt.
Maybe, I mean, it could be next year or the year after. I mean, you got to figure within the next 3 years, WrestleMania will be in Tampa.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great
and
WrestleMania for that reason.
It might be the most celebrated WrestleMania of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this one is a wounded WrestleMania.
Wounded, but a wounded warrior, it is for sure. And we speculated earlier on PrimeTime Live whether or not they needed a cliffhanger to hook us for WrestleMania Part 2 tomorrow night. And I think the Boneyard match acted as that cliffhanger because now I'm intrigued as to what else they got up their sleeve.
How cool must it have been if you're in the production truck doing WrestleMania, and then all you got to do is say, oh, look, there's 32 minutes left. Press play.
Right?
How awesome is that?
And there was no commentary either, right?
No, because there was the background music.
Yeah.
You could hear. You can't do commentary in a movie. That would be very weird.
No, it wasn't a movie. It was a Boneyard match.
It was a movie of a Boneyard match. But I can't even criticize it because it was I can't
You
say
still
it was
don't know.
different.
And I understand and
Exactly.
appreciate that.
Yes.
You still, it's hard to digest something so new, but I think the general feeling coming out of it is that of a feel-good feeling coming out of it.
Well, it was something that, it was a little bit Attitude Era-ish. It was a little bit Ultimate Deletion-ish. And you sprinkled in the current product.
Well, tomorrow night, the current product continues. Tomorrow night, it's part 2 of WrestleMania. But before we get to a preview of tomorrow, Linda, what were the results? What did the world say on Twitter at PWR360 about the pass or fail status of the Boneyard match to end WrestleMania Part 1?
Well, it was a big pass. We had
Really?
87%
How many?
of pass for the Boneyard match.
97?
I gotta agree with everyone.
97%?
87.
87%? God.
That's a solid B.
So pass was Reagan, and fail was Dukakis. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's resounding.
And, and that's amazing because wrestling fans can be pretty cynical on that kind of stuff. But they loved it. And especially considering AJ Styles didn't go over.
Well, let's be honest. You started the show being a bit cynical about it.
What do you mean?
The Boneyard match.
It was confusing.
So
It's-
maybe the
it's-
cynicism is actually confusion.
It's nothing that WWE has truly ever done before.
No, nor have they had the up.
The
If they would have
closest-
put that as part of a WrestleMania or any other show, any other place, any other time, droves
The
would have exited.
closest we have ever gotten to that was when Jake Roberts took the Undertaker out to the cemetery to teach him about the dark side and buried him up to his neck.
You know what would have been
In
cool tonight
essence,
if they
it
would have
was-
taken. Go ahead, Linda.
I was just gonna say, in essence, so if it was the Dead Man Undertaker, it would have been a graveyard match. But because we got with the American Badass Undertaker, it was a Boneyard match.
Oh, we don't care anymore why it was called a Boneyard match, right? Do we care?
Well, it wasn't really a graveyard.
But no, it was a Boneyard match, and fine. It was a Boneyard match.
Yeah.
It's now been defined.
There was a hearse, all right.
Well, thank you all for interacting with us. We are going to go just a little longer than planned tonight here on Fight TV. We love all the social engagement right now. Sorry we're not getting to all of your comments, because what we do want to do now, though, David, is talk about tomorrow night's WrestleMania Part 2.
I can't wait for tomorrow night.
And would you have said that before WrestleMania started tonight?
No, because I didn't know what the matches were for
Right.
each night. But
And they
tomorrow
did
night,
announce-
tomorrow night has 3 legit main event matches.
3.
They do. Orton and Edge,
Last man
Cena
standing.
and Bray Wyatt, and then Lesnar and Drew McIntyre.
And you know what's interesting is tonight on the WWE Network, they're going to debut I think it's the Chronicle show of Drew McIntyre's journey to WrestleMania. 2 questions. Is that telling at all? And if not tonight, because clearly they didn't plan to, well, maybe they did initially plan to air it tonight. When should it have aired? I know we haven't seen it, but it feels like that's something that defines a journey, but the journey's incomplete.
Well, but it's also telling the story. Much like what they did with Shawn Michaels before his match with Bret Hart. They told the story of the boyhood dream. And they can now do that. It's just another way to get the audience emotionally invested into Drew McIntyre.
Does it tell you anything about the results of the match tomorrow?
Of course not.
Okay.
Why would it? Why would they air that tonight?
Well, if he's going to become champion, doesn't that make the journey that much better?
Well, but we don't know that.
Right, that's why I'm asking. Do
Yeah.
you think it tells us anything
No,
about
not at
tomorrow
all.
night?
No, I mean, listen. Right now, if you call Vegas, even though they're not open,
Like that guy used to?
of course,
Can't see
1-900-909-9900. Don't call anymore. It doesn't work. But right now, if you were to call Vegas, you got to believe that Drew McIntyre is the heavy favorite.
No, there's no doubt about it. How about in the last man standing match? We previewed them on episodes of Primetime earlier, but now things have changed a little bit now that we've seen how WrestleMania is visually going to be presented. Last man standing, Edge and Randy Orton.
It has to be Edge. Edge has to get all this heat back. Leave Gene alone.
And the third match?
Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. and
I'm
John
surprised
Cena,
you're looking forward to this one.
because Bray Wyatt is going to take his place. He is going. I don't want to say it's the passing of a torch from John Cena, but it's now definitely giving Bray Wyatt the big victory he has yet to have. I don't consider the beatdown he gave Seth Rollins to win the title to be a true elevating victory, but beating somebody like John Cena in this kind of a gimmick match definitely changes the entire dynamic for the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
WrestleMania 26.2 Part 2B, the final chapter, WrestleMania Takes Orlando, whatever it may be, is tomorrow night. And I'm looking forward to this 4-hour presentation because it started at a 6-hour time. Was it really 4 hours tonight?
No, it was 3.
Pre-show started
Well,
at...
the pre-show, it was 4 hours.
Okay, so
Right,
the show itself...
But we didn't watch the pre-show.
Okay, well, no, that's I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. It's not a burden. It feels good. Didn't feel like Raw. Great job. Kudos to WWE tonight. Kudos to the wrestling world for coming together around WWE tonight. Tonight felt good.
It did. And appreciate what we were given tonight.
I sure do.
Because a lot of other teams, leagues, entertainment, they're not doing nothing. And you can say it's greed or Vince is an idiot or whatever. The fact is they all showed up with the exception of a couple, and everyone has their own reasons why they do certain things. But those guys showed up and they entertained. And they gave us all something to do tonight except be on whatever Zoom device there is.
Unless you're in New York.
Or watching the news and lysoling down. You know, we all got something else to keep our minds busy for 3.5 to 4 hours tonight.
And it worked. And Linda, your final thoughts on tonight's broadcast of WrestleMania?
Well, I'm left with wanting more. I am truly excited for tomorrow night's show, and tomorrow night has more of the matches that I wanted to see anyway. But after the ending with that Boneyard match, I really want to see this if the Firefly Funhouse will indeed be another production, another movie. Kind of comparing to that House of Horrors match, I think the difference with this match tomorrow night is that I think they can add in more layers of music and make it kind of similar to the Boneyard match. So I think the House of Horrors match, I don't think it had any audio, right? Any music. So I feel like this Firefly Funhouse match is what I'm looking most forward to tomorrow. But overall, looking forward to part 2 of WrestleMania.
All right. Well,
You know what match we never went over tonight?
The pre-show match?
No, it was Ricochet's match. Did he win?
I'm done with this hero for tonight. So Cal Hero, the man who makes all of it happen down here. Your takeaway from WrestleMania tonight.
You know, I thought tonight was a great show. I was really impressed. You know, I didn't expect it to be as well as it was, and everybody that had a match tonight showed great intensity without a crowd, and that is not easy to do. And tomorrow night, I think it's going to be even better, and I can't wait to see what else they can do with these circumstances and what they can use with these circumstances.
Yeah.
Like how they did in the Boneyard match.
Awesome. Well, Cal, thank you very much, and thank you for everything, and thank all of you for everything for joining us here live tonight. Folks, it doesn't end here. Tomorrow, we will be live with you for 3 huge broadcasts at 1 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Eastern, and then gleefully at 9 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern, rather, when WrestleMania goes off the air. We've got 2 brand new episodes of PrimeTime. What? Gleefully?
You have no idea how much that entertains me.
What, really? As much as you calling Kofi Coco. That explained,
No,
that
it's the
entertained me.
Cocoa Bud. Google it. It's a legit wrestling move. It's called the Cocoa Bud.
Oh, yeah. Just recovered real quickly. That's all. Primetime tomorrow. We look back at WrestleMania 13 at 1 p.m. We look back at WrestleMania, one of them, another one of them. WrestleMania
You are so lost
at
right
4
now.
p.m. Eastern. And then we're here back with you again for reaction live on Fight TV after WrestleMania tomorrow night. Again, congratulations to WWE. Congratulations to us, the wrestling fans, that we had this entertainment tonight. Not saying this was the best WrestleMania ever. Not saying it was the worst WrestleMania ever. I'm not even going to put a rating on this WrestleMania. I will say that I was entertained tonight. You have said you were entertained tonight. Most of you have said that you were entertained tonight as well. And that's all we could really ask for in these troubling times. So thank you so much. We will see you again tomorrow. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube right now so you don't miss
And
notifications.
like us on Facebook.
For all of the shows we're going to be bringing you. We're live every weeknight in addition to our special WrestleMania coverage this weekend. Thank you to our partners at Fight. Thank you to all of you who joined us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Twitch. For that one, I am Damian Nelson, also for the lovely Linda Kay, saying thank you so much for joining us live here on PWR Reaction. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for Prime Time Live. Thanks for joining us, everybody.